Yeah, the amazing news is that the destruction taking place on the planet right now is the worst moment in 65 million years since the death of the dinosaurs. We are sort of overwhelmed by this destruction taking place. No one on Earth can change the fact that the Cenozoic era is coming to an end.
I didn't know it was the end of the Cenozoic period. I don't even think I knew it was the Cenozoic period.
No, it's simply what is happening. So 1 million years from now, they will talk about this moment as the end of the Cenozoic.
So now I know that it's I don't know how long the Cenozoic period has been going. He probably said it. That's the thing, I'm going to forget everything that he said. But while it was happening, it was so important to hear. It's the end of the Cenozoic period, and I just have to admit that to myself. Which isn't terribly disappointing, because I didn't even know it was here. Nor am I entirely sure how long it will take for it to be over. I've enjoyed it, for the most part. For the few minutes I've known that it was here, it's been very good to me. That's the tree shrew.
Tens of millions of years, this little guy existed pretty much the same, because he was living surrounded by dinosaurs. And then you have their demise with this asteroid hitting the Earth, and they die out. And then this little guy right here, this guy, expands into anteaters, whales, bats, gorillas, cats and dogs, all of the mammals. It's not as if with the change of consciousness we can feel good about the destruction. That isn't the point. We're going to feel horrible about the destruction. Just 20,000 species going extinct every year. It doesn't get worse than that in terms of the
I can handle it. I can handle it. I can face it like a evolved shrew. I also didn't know I'd come from a shrew. From a little I knew I came from a primate, like a...
Simultaneous with destruction is something amazing, and that is the release of creativity. Another way of being human emerges.
I was visiting a saint. You would kneel in front of her, and she would hold the back of your head and send light from the center of the universe into your body, supposedly.
So as opposed to living within these artificial worlds, so as we free ourselves from that, what form of human will we become? It isn't like a minor adjustment, like, recycle with more energy or something like that. It's the birth of something as strangely different from the shrew as the whale. It will mean a deeper contact with the primal energies of the universe. A contact with the universe. The primal energies of the universe. The creativity that's surging through us.
Well, what does that look like? Stu Kaufman told me a story. He's one of the founders of complexity theory. His father had died, and he was taking a walk in Desolation Valley, a walk he'd often taken with his dad. And he was in that kind of altered state after someone you love has died, and you know that they're gone, and you're not exactly falling apart with grief quite yet. That can take a week or two or a year before it actually, and it was an older man, and he had lived his life, but still the absence was kind of making its space known inside of his thoughts, inside of the way the blood moved in a slightly more sluggish way through how could he just be no one to tall, the shirt still smells like the shoes are still polished, and just where he would have, you open the door, the phone rings, and you think that no, and in that way. He looked out. And he told me that as he was hiking and looking out at the landscape, he saw the way the sky fit with that moment of meeting and the way the trees and the jagged of rock, that nothing was quite distinct. You couldn't really draw a line between where he saw the way it all fit. He was a biologist, but he'd never seen the fit before. He had just seen the part. And then he said he saw the way, this was the thing, the way when a molecule arises into its own existence, it grabs a hold of another molecule, that grabs a hold of another, that grabs a hold of another, and one is grabbing the next until a certain level of complexity is achieved, and suddenly, in that grabbing a hold of the touching, of the clinging, of the allurement, of the star thing coming into and being able to, that was in a giving birth to us, in the grabbing a hold of the clinging, of the coming, of the little, I want to touch you. That when enough of them held enough of the other ones, that life just emerged naturally. That life just emerged all around him, the life of mountain, the life of sky, the life of jagged edge, the life of grass, the life of tiny little wildflower just on its last kind of drying out, the life of lake, the life of him. For the first time ever, he felt like he belonged to the universe. All of those molecules inside of him grabbing a hold in order to make liver, kidney, heart, the pumping of the valve, the neural networks in between, all into this a relationship that in a way he had nothing to do with, and yet emerged into the existence of Stu Kaufman standing in Desolation Valley, grieving the death of his father who was gone, and the jagged in the sky, and yes. In this moment, there is no alone. And only alone can you arrive at this moment.
And the spiral galaxy can actually create stars. So the spiral structure enables this ongoing creativity to happen. What happens sometimes, though, is that the spiral galaxies will collide, especially early in the universe because it was really, really dense.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they collide, they destroy the spiral structure, and they kind of become all murkily involved and become like an egg. It's an elliptical. And then it no longer has the capacity to create new stars. So it's a sad thing. The Large Magellanic Cloud was a spiral that had an unfortunate trauma. We actually know when, 8 billion years ago. And so it lost its capacity for star birth. That's a sad thing. It's like death, right? And so here, what took place is that 4 billion years ago, the Large Magellanic Cloud was drawn into the Milky Way, a galaxy's allurement, attraction. So here's the Large Magellanic Cloud. It's just going about its own business, dying out. And then suddenly it looks and sees, whoa, Milky Way. And so it does this turn, and it's in this giant orbit now around the Milky Way. But here's incredible thing. In that interaction between the galaxies, the actual structure of the Large Magellanic Cloud began to change. And recently, scientists have found that it has had its star-making capacity awakened.
And now that it's almost all over, something terribly creative is going to happen. Something so creative, so vastly creative, because I will be released from the constrictions of my own two-dimensional mind. Something so vast and creative and sustaining will happen that I won't even know what it is, because my mind is too small to contain it. I have to have a different kind of mind to contain the new creativity that I will be. I will be what I cannot even imagine I will be. I will not even be me. I can't wait. So that's why I feel better. Because I found out so much that we have a Cenozoic period, that it's almost over, that something new will happen, that I will expand through intimacy and awe and the beauty of the love of even myself, not even into the great velocity of the supernatural containing and the 1.12,000 billions of it forever and spiraling and attracted to and affinity and allurement. And just through love itself, you can give birth to a star. What a relief.
That we are the space in which the universe reflects upon itself.
It's not what happened. What happens? It's the story you tell about what happens. It's not that it's the end of the Cenozoic era. It's the story you tell about the vast release of creativity and the unimaginable future, just like the shrew becoming a monkey and becoming a baboon and becoming an ape and then becoming a Homo erectus and then becoming a Homo sapien, carrying the genital that was created by a lizard. We are moving into a vast, I am so relieved because I was really depressed about the way things were going, wonderful future.
The capacity to open oneself up so deeply that in the encounter, something absolutely new is created. Something new. And you realize that something new is, in a certain sense, more important than you are.
Having lost its ability to give birth. And it comes into the proximity of a spiraling down, and gets swept into the spiraling pattern of what can continue. And in the moment of being caught, is replenished, re-stimulated, regenerated, and gives birth to a star. Okay. If that is true, then when I lie in bed, hear the quiet song of that oak tree singing me to sleep. We have to grieve, but we don't have to.